come and reset my holiday cottage with me. So this past week we have been away in Norfolk, on the North Norfolk coast with my mum. Originally this trip was planned so that we could go away with my mum and my stepdad, but very sadly my stepdad passed away at the beginning of this month. We weren't sure if we would go ahead with this holiday at all, and my mum wasn't sure if she would come with us, but eventually we decided we would all go away together. We left it very much open for my mum that she could, just stay for a few days and go home early if she wanted to, but she stayed with us the whole week, and I think the kids were an excellent distraction for all of us, really. I have found it both very difficult losing my stepdad during school summer holidays for the logistics, side of things, and also, and overwhelmingly so, a relief for it to have happened in the summer holidays, because it has been so busy. We've had so many days out, we've had so many things planned with the kids that we've just had to, forge ahead with, because kids, summer holidays, and that has been really like a really welcome distraction from the realities of what we are facing. And there were absolutely tears at various points during this holiday. There were things that reminded us of my stepdad, things that we knew he would have loved. We did a boat trip one day to see seals, and my stepdad had sailed when he was younger, and he won an award, I won a prize. I won a prize for winning a big race, sailing with his friend once, that my mum has on display in the house. And there was a boat which passed that really reminded my mum of the sailing boat that my stepdad had had. And that was like it was a sad point, but a sad, happy point as well, because he loved sailing. He would have really enjoyed that trip, and he would have loved that we went on that trip too. So we have certainly we've made some lovely memories. We've had a lovely week. But being away in a holiday cottage does mean there's still the chaos and the mess to clean up. I would say mostly we do like holiday cottages, we do self-catering holidays way more than any kind of catering. I say any kind of catering because we've never done like a fully catered holiday. We've never done a kind of stay in a hotel, have your food included kind of holiday. And I think that is on the horizon for us in the future. But with little kids, I find it so much easier to be away in a self-catered cottage, caravan, or whatever it may be that we've done kind of all sorts. Centre parks is another good one, where you've got like plenty of activities, but then you can also make food when you need to make food, and the kind of food that you need for the kids. But it does mean that there's, a fair bit of washing up and filling that dishwasher to do. And that's just one of the, I'm going to say downsides. It's just the realities of that kind of holiday, right? And I don't mind it. We ate out a couple of nights. We had the fish and chips by the seaside. We went out for a really lovely dinner on our last night on our holiday. So we've certainly, we've been out. I don't know if we had any lunches out actually. I think we were picnics all the way. But yeah, we went out a bit. So that was nice. But on this particular day, I did look around me and think like, just how much of a mess have we made? Like, and how have we managed this? Because when you go away on holiday, you're not taking like everything with you. You're being fairly minimal, and yet we seem to create plenty of chaos. I remember watching a video by the Minimal Mum once, where she was talking about how, when you go away on holiday, you're staying in a cottage or whatever, it comes with just what you need for your stay away. And it's like such a relief to be in like more minimal surroundings. Then we go back to our own homes, we have so much more stuff. But I don't know whether I'm kind of like the opposite of that with this holiday. I feel like, yes, there were, we had just what we needed in the cupboards, there wasn't like excess amounts of crockery and cutlery and all the rest of it. And we didn't bring masses with us. But once we got all the food stuff out and the few toys that we did bring, we certainly brought plenty with us, and we certainly managed to make a pretty big mess. But with pretty big messes when it comes to the kitchen, I know that if I get the dishes done, I get everything in the dishwasher, I get the sink filled up, it instantly makes like such a difference. Like by this point, the kitchen island is looking masses clearer, everything is feeling much lighter, so much more space already. And speaking of kitchen island, this kitchen island was just the nicest one that I have seen for a very long time. I love a kitchen island. It was one of the things that I'd always said that I'd made it in life. Like this was my idea of when I'd made it in life. I think in my early 20s, I was convinced like when I had a house with a kitchen island and a separate utility room, that's when I'd have made it. And that is actually what I have now. And I feel very lucky. Like I'm not going to turn around and say, silly me. That's not what it is to have made it. Because actually I think that, I have achieved everything that I had wanted, like in my 20s, throughout most of, certainly my early 30s, what I had in mind in life, marriage, kids, a job that I adored, a house with a kitchen island and a utility room. And I feel very lucky to be able to say that. I feel like everything now is just like icing on top of the cake. But the kitchen island here was pretty epic. This was over double the size of the one that I have at home. And I love the fact that we could get, pretty much all of us seated around the kitchen island when it came to like breakfast time. That was really good fun. This is definitely a great house for entertaining. And I will give you a tour at the end of the video of the downstairs of the house anyway. I didn't film upstairs because kiddos were asleep, but upstairs we had 2 master bedrooms, really, really good size, king size beds in, en suites. Then there was a family bathroom and 2 smaller twin bedrooms for the kids. The bedrooms were so lovely and so much more roomy than my own bedroom at home. And I must say, like, I did find myself looking at the bedroom quite a lot and thinking how nice it would be to have a bit more space to move around. Lovely for us to experience that as part of this holiday. It was really, really nice, and we had some lovely days out. It was very busy. My mum hadn't seen the seaside for, I think she said 5 years it had been since she'd seen the seaside. She only lives an hour's drive away from the seaside, but because my stepdad had been poorly for the last few years, and it just made it really difficult for her to get out to the seaside. So she really liked that. So into the dining room now, another really good space, a lovely big table here for us to sit down around. And that is something that I mean, we have a lovely table, we can get us all around, but we don't have dinner together very much. So midweek, we rarely sit around the table together, which is such a shame. And it's very different from my childhood where my mum was home a lot more, but times are different now. And many of us, that's the reality is that, both mum and dad are out to work, and, I love my work. So, but that means we're not eating together much. On the weekends, we do as much as we can. So it's my little trick for when you're having dinner and you don't have time to pack away the dry washing. I simply put it behind the curtains to deal with later. So it was all dry. I just had no time getting dinner out to tidy it up. So I absolutely love having a holiday home with a washing machine. Like whenever I'm looking at booking an Airbnb, I have to book one that has a washing machine, and I will, that is a decider at the end of the day. If there's 2 I really like, one has a washing machine and one doesn't. This was an added bonus this trip because basically the day before we went on holiday, our washing machine broke. It'd been up and down a lot lately, and we'd had to have it repaired a couple of times. We'd had someone out just a couple of days before, they'd done a repair, and then it was like the next day it was like absolutely not, and kaput. So we have ordered a new washing machine. There's an expense you don't want at the end of the school summer holidays, but we've ordered a new washing machine, and that will be arriving on Tuesday. And we have so much washing. So even though we had a washing machine, we did washing while we were away. There's still so much, especially with beach holidays and kids. Like everything gets sandy, everything gets mucky. So we have a lot of washing to do, and I feel like the kids have just been rolling in dirt ever since we got home. So I'm recording this voice over now from my own home. We got back yesterday, and I miss it already. I want to go back already, and I miss my mom as well, because we had that lovely week together, and I know that she's now back at home on her own, grieving, and I'm not able to be there with her always, because she's a couple of hours drive away from me, and so that is really hard. And I know she's missing the kids too, but I also bet she is enjoying the peace and quiet, because the kids have been loud. This summer holidays, oh my goodness me. And it's definitely partly because they are also struggling with their own emotions, having lost their granddad. It's been a really up and down time, and it must be really confusing for them, because it's the school summer holidays. I've planned these nice days out. We're going on holiday, all these lovely things, but there's an undercurrent of sadness, and they're also grieving. So we're talking about Grand a lot, and we're helping them work through those emotions, but it's a very up and down time for them. So time to hang out, some more washing. And then here is what we're looking at after this tidy up. It's not a full major, like absolutely everything is done. We still have a few things to sort out, little piles of stuff on the floor there. I just ran out of energy, honestly. It was very late by the time I finished this, but I am much happier with how things are and how much better it's looking. So let me give you a little tour anyway. Here is the downstairs look. I just really like the decor in this holiday house. I like the tiles, I like all the flooring, I like the neutral tones. We have a lot more colour in my house, but I feel like there is a nice amount of colour. This is a games room which my kids loved, retro games, which was like such a novelty. We played foosball, and then lovely big hallway here, and then into the main living room. This was also like such a nice room to be in. It was also really good that we had 2 TVs for the kids. I will see you in the next one.